Now you'll know our next guest from his role as Special Agent Del Cooper, 90s, the classic Twin Peaks.
Oh, you look great there, by the way. He looks amazing. He's since starred in countless hit TV series like Desperate Housewives and Sex and the City, and, of course, played the lead role in the original 1980s adaptation of the sci-fi blockbuster Dune.
Dune, yeah, that's Carl MacLachlan now. He's returned to sci-fi, a new big-budget Prime Video series, Fallout. Take a look.
You need to go home. Vault dwellers are an endangered species. I do not think you would be willing to do what it takes to survive up here.
Carl MacLachlan joins us now.
Oh, my Lord.
I love your question. So is it on top of the world or underneath?
Yeah,
where are, that's a great first question.
I don't know what's going on.
Where are we?
Kyle?
Oh, my God.
Are they underground? Are they
I wish
on top
I
of the
knew.
ground?
Well, there's two areas, yes. We are in the vault for parts of that, underground, deep underground, and then part of it is spent on top of the surface, where there's been an apocalyptic event, and it's 200 years later, and we come to the surface and we see all sorts of crazy stuff.
So it's really cool. So at the very start, you see this kind of 1950s kind of American...
Yeah, kind of future retro vibe.
But just sort of like, and then it basically, there's just explosions everywhere, and then it's like, was it 217 years later?
Yeah, we're
and then
jumping to the future.
Love it.
So everyone's been living underground.
Yeah.
And Carl's in charge of one of the kind of the subsections.
Exactly right.
I don't know why I'm getting some
governor. No, it's actually, you've got it. It's very good.
I watched it last night, I really enjoyed it.
You paid attention.
Tell us about Hank, because his character's quite mysterious, isn't he?
Yeah, so Hank is what's called the overseer. I'm the overseer of Vault 33.
Yeah.
Basically the governor, if you will, and he's in charge of his community, really.
So he takes care of his vault.
Takes care of his vault. He takes care of his vault in a beautiful way. And as you can see from the clip, things happen. And their entire world is turned upside down, and they have to go to the surface of the planet, which they've been told for centuries is not a place you want to go. So that's where we start.
And your daughter is kind of the... Well, certainly from the first episode, what I've seen is the girl plays she's the kind of protagonist has to go and rescue you in it.
Yeah, she comes out from the vault, never before having experienced that, heard horror stories about what's on the surface, not far from the truth, actually.
Yeah.
Played by the lovely Ella Purnell.
Yeah, she's great.
She is so delightful, plays my daughter. And yeah, we basically follow her journey.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I know about Fallout, because Fallout is what my son is playing on the games all the time.
Yes.
So it's literally taken from that. Did you know much about Fallout before you did the film?
I was Fallout. I had no idea. I was incapable of knowing. But my son knew about it, and also his cousins knew about it, and they sort of helped bring me up to speed. Explained a little bit about it. I tried to play, in an effort to understand this world, and I failed horribly. Died within the first 5 seconds, and I was like, this game is not.
But they're beautiful games. They're kind of really immersive games. Like the whole, these guys are artists. They build a whole world that you can get properly immersed in. The story, and there's like Fallout's 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. It's really. I've played them. It's really good. Huge
franchise, and as you said, immersive is a great word for the game.
Yeah.
So what was the draw for you? Was it Jonathan Nolan working with him, maybe?
Oh my gosh, I'm such a fan of Jonah, as he goes by, is our creative director and creator of this. I was such a huge fan of Westworld.
So good, wasn't it?
And I love that so much. So really excited to jump into this journey with him. And I knew some of the creatives. One of the writers, Graham Wagner, is a friend of mine as well. We worked together on Portlandia back in the day. Graham is super guy. So, between those things, the cast, the role, I said, I'm in. This is perfect.
Any stunts?
None that I wish to talk about. I'm at the age now where stunts are challenging. Wake up in the morning. I usually hurt myself if I do the stunt.
So, bring in my stunt man.
Yeah, I bring in someone else. I have to sip a coffee. Bring in my stunt man. I can't drink this coffee. No.
So and we have to talk about, I guess, kind of a return to sci-fi. I guess that we talk about Dune, of course, the first
original,
Dune you were in, and and working with David Lynch because, like, you know, he's such a... Anyone that grew up watching cinema in the 80s, like, you're always drawn to this incredible art house director.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Oh, David's wonderful.
What's he like to work with?
He is just the greatest. We've done so many things together, starting with Dune and then Blue Velvet and, of course, Twin Peaks, that franchise. He is a good friend. He is one of the most creative people that I know. He's always doing something interesting, and he just has a great kindness about him. And the environment he creates on the set when we work together is just the most special place, and we have a lot of fun.
But Twin Peaks, like, I don't know what it was like in the States, but over here, this is from a time when we only really had 4 channels.
Right.
So, you know,
I can't believe there was a time like that.
Right.
I know.
So
my lord.
Everyone watched Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And you were sort of entranced by it, terrified of it.
It's unbelievable.
Like, it really, and it was so kind of brilliant because it was kind of a bit art house, but also you had the whole country watching.
Yeah.
And
that's a great summation. I mean, I think part of the appeal was the fact that we hadn't seen anything like this before, primarily because you're taking a filmmaker like a David Lynch and bringing him to television, which was new for the time. And it sort of set the ball rolling for other possibilities.
That's such a good point.
I always wonder, as actors, do you actually know what's going on?
I do not know what's going on. I don't know what's happening right now, in fact. Good Lord, I've got severe jet lag. I have no idea where I am. What's happening?
I'll never forget that last episode of Twin Peaks. My parents had gone out and I couldn't wait to see it because it was a big thing. And I remember we videoed VHS, we watched it, and so I watched it like in a darkened room.
Oh dear.
And your thing at the end, I was like, I'm not going to bed now. I've never been more scared in my entire life. It was so good.
And what about Sex in the City? Would you think that they should bring back Trey?
Oh my gosh, Trey could come back for sure. I really enjoyed my time on that show.
Oh,
it was a lot of fun working with Kristen Davis and Frances Sternhagen, who played Bunny, of course. I always felt that Bunny and Trey should have their own show, and we just call it the Bunny and Trey Show. And you just didn't know from moment to moment what was going to happen. You know, Upper East Side apartment, having baths.
So good.
You know. Smoking cigarettes.
Have you watched the new Dune, the one?
I've watched the first one, which I really enjoyed. I love the book so much. I love that story. So it was another opportunity to see a different take on that story.
Do you get nervous that you don't want it to be ruined in any way?
Well, initially I was nervous going in. I thought, oh gosh, this is going to sort of set the tone now. This will be the new Dune. But I said, actually, no. I see our Dune and the new Dune can coexist quite comfortably. I think, because the interpretation is different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it
such a huge tome as well. It's such
a
massive piece of work. It's like, I guess you compare it to like, what Game of Thrones would be now in terms of like the book. I mean, I think the book, it was just, and then the adaptation was so kind of, you know, you've got to be so layered, and because Sting was in that movie, wasn't he?
Sting was in the movie, of course. Yeah. We remain friends to this day, even though I had to kill him. You know, he didn't want to go. He didn't want to die.
And before we let you go, because your whole thing is here, isn't it? You've got
everything. Yeah, we're working in the centre.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's great.
I love MacLachlan Towers today.
This is what it is.
How's the wine going? Because you do.
Well, the wine is good, Dermot. Thank you for asking. So I have a wine company in Washington State.
And did you bring us any?
Oh,
I
failed in my mission.
Very thirsty.
Very, very bad. No, I have since 2005.
How's
I've been
it going?
making wine. It's going really, really well. In fact, I've got distribution here in the UK, and we have a lot of the wine at Hawksmoor.
The steakhouse.
Put a plug in there for the steakhouse, because it's a big red wine.
What's the background to that? Was it you grew up in Washington State?
I did. I grew up in Yakima, eastern Washington. Washington is 2 states. The east side is kind of more like the wasteland in Fallout. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding if you're watching from Washington. But it's much drier, perfect climate for grapes. And so we make big, rich red wine on the east side.
We couldn't have you on, and it's such an honour to have you on. We couldn't have you on without providing you with a little bit of
But can we just say that this is actually from Dermot's winery in the States?
I had no idea.
This is really...
Not my winery, but my...
Whoa, what are you doing here?
Yeah. So we just got...
But this is from Dermot, and obviously I'm just getting in on it. And
absolutely, absolutely.
But it's really from Dermot. You're so brave to give wine to someone who sells wine.
Look at this. This is a proper bottle. Thank you very much. From Saint-Million, you make it Saint-Million. Oh, wow. Which I visited Bordeaux last summer for the first time.
I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, this is so kind of you.
Let it breathe.
Let's open it right now.
Thank you.
Enjoy. So lovely to see you.
Thank you for this.
Fallout premieres on Prime Video on the 11th of April.
You guys are good.
We always do the promo together. Rest of the stereo.
I love it.
Thank you so much.